Hi, so this week I reviewed what according to me is the sharpest looking, the most practical and one of the very few black Mercedes that is well maintained that you can easily put your money down and get your first luxury German full-size sedan. I personally like this generation of E-classes because this is one of the last generation of E-classes to have that split headlight setup, which looks really cool, unlike any other car in its class, and it makes you can easily recognize the vehicle even if it's half a mile ahead. And on top of that, this black color, it makes others think that you are actually an underground thug. So I found this Mercedes in a pre-owned car dealership called Chennai Motors, obviously in Chennai. And I'll put the Google Maps link for their showroom in the description below, and all the contact details must be somewhere popping out here, I think. Yeah. So about the car, this is a 2010 model E350D with a V6 diesel under the hood. So the asking price for this car is about 15 lakhs. This is actually a pretty good deal because if you were to buy this car in 2010, it would have set you back around 55 to 60 lakhs easily. And again, this is just the asking price, which means if you can justify a better deal, I strongly recommend you to go to the showroom, have a look at the car, if possible even have a test drive with your own trustable local mechanic, and then maybe you could get a better price. If you ask me, the car which I reviewed, this particular black Mercedes, it's in perfect condition. I mean, I didn't find any issues with the engine, gearbox, the transmission system, or the suspension systems. Everything was perfectly fine, which is actually a good thing because Mercedes parts are not easy to replace and maintain. They're going to be a little bit more expensive than the other models, other brands. So this is actually a good thing. You don't have to spend anything on the car. You just have to, you can take it and go for a long drive. It's going to be perfectly fine. So before I talk any further about the car, I just want to make one thing clear. It's quite normal for us to compare the cars with their prices. I mean, this is not wrong. This is perfectly fine because it's ultimately you who's going to pay the price at the end of the day. But you know what? I just want you to reflect upon yourself. Just rethink the real reason behind why you actually chose to watch this video, because it's going to make a lot of sense. You did not choose to watch this video because you wanted a car for 15 lakhs. You actually chose to watch this video because you wanted that awesome jump from your probably little hatchback that you're owning, or you want your first car to be a Mercedes. I want you to stick with this mindset towards the end, till the end of this video, because if not, nothing of what I'm going to speak from now is going to make any sense at all for you. I'm saying this because people nowadays don't want to buy a car for its engine or for its brand heritage or any good reasons like that. They buy cars the way they buy smartphones. They don't look for any of the proper stuff, and they look for all this irrelevant electronic gadgets which make no sense at all. They look for the huge touchscreen in front of them. I don't know why. It's so stupid. It gets really old and outdated really quickly, and on top of that, it distracts you while you're driving. I mean, you could end up losing your life trying to change your air conditioning settings. So that's too bad, and that's how dumb people nowadays are. And that's the very reason why you see so-called sports utility vehicles coming with a crappy and puny 1-liter turbocharged engines. Alright, so with this rather thoughtful mindset, if we look at this particular Mercedes, it's going to make a lot of sense. You know what? It's got a proper 3-liter V6 engine with 210 horsepower and 490 Newton meters of torque from as low as 1600 RPM. Okay, a bit technical sounding. What that actually means is that as soon as you touch that little gas pedal, you can easily start pulling a truck behind you. And all this power goes to the rear wheels alone via 7-speed automatic transmission. That, if you ask me, that does the job perfectly well. You don't find any lag or any jerk while shifting. For a 10-plus-year-old car, this is the experience I had with the drivetrain is pretty awesome. It didn't feel like it's barely more than 5 years old. Now you tell me any car currently on sale for 15 lakhs or under that can give you such proper figures. It makes sense, right? You know what? It gets even better. I'll give you some examples. Okay, all the seats in this car are electrically adjustable, so that's not something new nowadays, right? But you know what? The steering rack is electrically adjustable, which means combining these two, practically and safely speaking, while cruising at 120 kilometers down the highway, I can completely change my driving position from being very sporty to completely relaxed and slacking off. Now for me, being able to do that is proper luxury. This is something physical and tangible the car is going to offer you, not like something, just merely visual or some stupid touchscreen in front of you. Calling that as a luxury is really stupid. And on top of that, this 10-plus-year-old car still has its own infotainment system working really well. The command system still has all the functions working, all the buttons, all the knobs are properly working. The car feels really strong and sturdy. I didn't find any rattling noise or any of that sort from this vehicle. This was perfectly maintained, perfectly good condition car. So I was driving this car for a while in the town, and then I hopped into the back seat. Easily one of the best backseat experience I ever had, and definitely way more comfortable than any car costing the same or even twice the asking price of this car. Trust me, I recently I did a review of the Skoda Octavia Lauren and Clement. You can find the link in the description or somewhere popping up here. Even that did not give me such a great backseat experience. And everything in the backseat was really good. The cushioning was spot on. It was perfect cushioning, and you had perfect under thigh support, way more legroom and headroom than you would ever ask for from full-size sedan. So even if you're a 6'5" or even if you're a 7-footer for that matter, you will still not have any problem at all. And you know what, apart from the AC vents in the center, you also had dedicated AC vents for the rear seat occupants in the B pillar, which is a good touch. It makes you feel like this is something more than actually a sedan. It feels like a full-size limousine apart from visually from outside. You get that proper comfort, full-size, full package. And also worth mentioning is the funky cup holder. So it had a center armrest and it had a cup holder. I didn't know how to open it in the first hand, but then when I somehow figured it, it didn't just open itself, it kind of presented itself, and that was really funky touch, and you might find it irrelevant, but that's really cool for me. So as I told you, this is a proper full-size sedan, so you have a really long and square-shaped boot, which means it's going to be very easy loading and unloading stuff. You're not going to have any problem with that either, so don't worry about that. And I guess one last thing you would want me to address is about the running cost. So yeah, first of all, for being a 3-liter V6 diesel engine, this is actually quite efficient. Surprisingly, it returned around 14 to 15 kilometers per liter in overall city and highway. So which is surprising, because even by today's standard, that's really good for such a huge engine. And regarding the service, yeah, it had all its service records done properly at genuine Mercedes dealership here in Chennai, which means you don't have to bother about that either. You can have a look at the documents if you want in the showroom. And still, if you are planning to get it repaired and maintained by any third-party dealership outside, or if you're a DIY kind of person like me, it's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you have all the fluids and parts are the ones recommended by the Mercedes itself for best life and reliability. So that's about it. Alright, so time for the final verdict. Will I prefer this pre-owned black Mercedes with a V6 under the hood over any tiny Suzuki, Hyundai or a Honda for the same price? You know what, I would happily take this home, because this car gives me everything that I ask from a car and not what I ask from a smartphone. And because of that, it wins everything against the same price. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you liked it. Give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you really loved it. Share it with your friends whom you think might be really useful for, and see you in the next one. Bye.